Our guest for this episode is the fabulous Vanessa Emerson. She is going to be speaking on speaking and consulting in dentistry. She is the owner of the Dental Speaker Institute, and she has some information for you. So if you've ever thought about getting into speaking or consulting, but want to know how and just want to get started, she is there to hold your hand and show you the way. So in this episode, you are going to learn just that, and listen in as she does give a passcode for the after party with some fabulous giveaways that you do not want to miss. You found Dental Elements Podcast. We've been waiting here for you, and we are ready for you to join in and listen to our guest speakers as they share innovation, collaboration, and inspiration with you, people in the dental profession. There's also a little instigation from your hosts, Cindy Rogers and April Sluter. And after listening to each episode, all you have to do is head on over to rooteyouon.com. There you can gather all of the resources mentioned in each episode and connect with our guests. Cheers to that. So hi, Vanessa. Thank you for joining us today on the podcast. I'm so excited to hear your story and learn more about the Speaking Institute and everything you have, all your exciting stuff coming up for wannabe speakers and professional trained speakers. And tell us a little bit about yourself and about your company.
Sure. Thank you. I'm, of course, excited to be here with you as well, Cindy. So I have been supporting speakers and consultants for a little over 20 years. It's like, how does that happen? But I started working with a speaker and consultant in her office as an office manager back in 2001. And before that, I had been working in medical in a small rural part of Arizona where there were not enough trained surgical techs. And so I helped the general surgeon in his office as his office manager and kind of a Jane of all tricks, right? I did it all. But I also was able to go and help with belly surgeries and hold the laparoscope. And that was pretty awesome. So if he had not retired for the second time in his 70s, I would probably still be working there because I just loved it. And I really believe in synchrodestiny. That's a Deepak Chopra term, this idea that, you know, how our worlds collide meaningfully. And had he not have retired, I would not have been looking for a job and found this dental speaker and consultant. Like, what even does that mean, right? When you're not when you're not in that world, we probably all have a hard time explaining to our families, like, what is it you do again? And I had a hard time wrapping my head around, like, I don't know what it is, but I really liked her. And so I got my start working with Catherine Eitel-Belt. Some of your audience may know her, Lion Speak. She's a communication expert and in dentistry. And we just, for those first couple of years, worked on figuring out how to get more clients, you know, how to get more speaking engagements, how to book more consulting engagements, programs, I should say, contracts. And then it just grew from there. And I've been in business myself now with her encouragement early on to do a little side gig where I would help people with creating their marketing materials, grew into our marketing firm. And then our directory grew into a bureau, and we have our Dental Speaker Institute, which is really a fellowship program that helps speakers and consultants with their content development, presentation skills, and the business of speaking. And so the solution that we have in the market right now is really well-rounded. We have a really robust network and community of wonderful individuals that are speakers and consultants, and also those that coach and train speakers and consultants. So it's a good place to be. And we're glad you're with us.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Last year was my first time joining the Jumpstart, and it was amazing. And I learned so much, and there's so much valuable information, and I just loved it. So I definitely recommend everybody check it out. And I see that you're changing things a little bit this year. Can you tell us what's going to be different this year?
For sure. We're all tired of COVID, right?
Yes. C word.
So Jumpstart has always been at the very beginning of the year, and we jumpstart our year and our annual meeting, and we bring together typically, 150 to 200 speakers and consultants typically. And the last 2 years, COVID has reared its ugly head early in January, as we all know, right? With the big outbreaks after the holidays. So I'm just wanting to try to avoid the beginning of the year. So we've moved our date and we've rebranded as a result. So we are now called Weevolution, which is we come together to learn, to grow, to evolve. Weevolution. And Weevolution will be held in early May. Each year, the first weekend of May, Friday, Saturday. And so next year is May 5th and 6th. For those who register early, which means by the end of the year prior, so by December 31st, they're also invited to attend a full day business training, virtual training meeting in mid-January.
Okay, and so that is, okay, so that one's virtually. And then the one for Weevolution, is that kind of like weave too, how we weave together?
Oh,
Like
I love that.
Like Weevolution, like kind of weaves too, and what that just came to me.
Yeah,
That's
for
cool.
sure. I mean, I love that because it really is a collaborative, wonderful network of, don't you think, like-minded people that are very
Mhm.
open and sharing and want to help each other grow, and there's not a feeling of competition but more of collaboration, and it's
Yeah.
really nice. um, and yes, there was a question in there and I
Yes.
didn't
Oh, the
forget.
question is, so with that, so the one in January is going to be virtual, and then the Weevolution, will that be where you can do it virtually and or in person, or how does that going to work this year?
Yes, and it's primarily, it looks like more than 90% of our people are already signed up for in person. There's a small number that are speaking over those days, or for some reason couldn't be there. The content will be recorded and it will be available afterward for those who have registered prior. So I would encourage people, have limited attendance in person. I can only fit 150 people in this ballroom this year, and we already have 115, closer to 120 probably now signed up, though probably about 10 of those are virtual. So if we do the math, there's not very many spots left between
Yeah.
now and May. So it's one of those things I'm going to encourage people. They're going to want to sign up this year anyway, so they can have that virtual training day in January. It's going to be really powerful.
Mhm.
But there's not a lot of spots left, so there is some urgency around it.
Okay, and what can we expect for in these courses? Do you have that mapped out yet?
For Evolution, so what we typically do, I can explain to you with Dental Speaker Institute, and I've got my old branding here, but Dental Speaker Institute really is a fellowship program at its core. And so within our fellowship, we have 20 faculty members that teach speaker development, whether it's how to give a better presentation, like platform skills, or to write it, or to create your content for whatever you're creating, video or articles or thought leadership type stuff. And it's also focuses on the business side of speaking and consulting, which is my expertise as a business advisor for people who want to start and grow their businesses. And so that type of content is what you would expect at all of our meetings. I'm a meetings addict, junkie, whatever we want to say. I love going to meetings.
Me
I
too.
love to learn. In fact, that's one of my top Gallup strengths is I'm definitely a learner. It's just fun to learn. And I've been to so many different kinds of meetings over the years, and I appreciate them all. And what I wanted to do is carve out something different. So many of our typical associations will offer something that is highly motivational, and we'll cry and we'll be moved and we might learn a certain level of skill. But so many times at association meetings for speakers and consultants, it tends to be what I tend to think of as like the astronaut that talks about leadership, and that's fabulous, but that's not what we're doing. What we're doing, and from being in the meeting, we're really literally learning how to write your keynote. We're focused on the skills, the strategy, so that you can further your career, so that you can get more clients. It's really more about rolling up your sleeves and diving deep and working on your business. That's what jazzes me.
Great, I love it. I did have a couple of personal questions. So one of them is, is your birthday in July?
Uh-uh.
Oh, it's not? Okay, I thought maybe it was. So because that's why I have the moon, because it's like July 20th. It's like when the whole moon thing. So that's why I put the
Did you
moon
think
up
I
there.
was a Leo?
No, that you're a Cancer.
No, I have a Leo moon.
Oh, you do?
You
Okay.
probably hear, when you get to know
Oh,
me, you'll hear that come out. But
okay. So yeah, so maybe I'm like, oh, the moon. Yeah. So anyway, that's why the moon's there. I was
that's an
going to finish what I
astrological
have the rest of
reference.
the moon and stuff, but I didn't. Like I
I
said.
love that. I'm actually Aries, born in April.
Okay. I try to mix it up. And then another question is that during Jumpstart, you had Van Halen on the song Jump. And so, and you
Yes,
said
I'm a
you love,
headbanger.
yes, you said you love hair bands. And so I was like, yeah, me, I love hair bands. So can you tell me what your favorite hair band is? Or,
Oh man, that's too hard. But
oh,
that's why and I'm almost 60 and my hearing definitely suffers from all those 80s and 90s bands. No, it's really not that hard. They're not necessarily a hair band, but like my favorite band ever was Journey. But
oh, okay.
when you get into like the 90s hair bands, like we listen to, like I've seen Warren, Tesla, like Poison, like you go
Uh-huh.
down the list, we've been to probably most of those guys.
Oh, fun. Yeah. I'm a hair bander too. Like,
Yay!
yeah, I've seen Journey a couple times. So we went to a hair fest here in Oregon. There's a hair fest. Well, so it's like cover bands, but they have like, yeah, all those bands. So it's just fun. And
Oh,
so people
would
dress
be
up and
fun.
it's just a great crowd. And anyway, so I thought of you when I
Who's
saw
your
that.
favorite?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
I know it's hard, right?
I love them all. I love
I
variety.
don't listen to that much anymore though. But when I was younger, I mean, I definitely,
Yeah.
my kids grew up. My son, when he was 2, his favorite song was, I think it was Poison, Unskinny Bop.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, I don't listen to it. It's not my everyday listening.
We're not
For sure,
parents of the year.
yeah, I like to bang out every once in a while, for sure. And then, so tell me about your consulting business. So you have this, and then do you do private coaching too? And what do you
Yeah.
involve in that? What does that entail?
The vast majority of how I spend my time is in business advisory. Either I do a lot of one-on-one, and I also have 2 programs. So one has a defined beginning and end. It's a year-long program. It's called AMP. My main website is The Dental Speaker. So for anyone who's wanting to get more information, that's the mothership, and it will push you off to some other websites. But under the business advisory, that first option is Accelerate My Progress, Profits, and Personal Joy. And that's a small group pod, typically 4 people. And we have a year-long program where we meet monthly and for several hours. And there's a defined education for each month, but there's also masterminding. And I really do think, with no ego involved, I think one of my superpowers is connection. I love to connect people. I'm always looking. Every call, I'm always like, oh, you should talk to this person, or we need to connect you. I love to do that. And what I find is in those pods, they end up becoming really cohesive, like a group of like siblings that
Mm-hmm.
support and help and love each other, our families. What we're creating now is an evergreen program that will be out soon, where it's going to have online do-it-yourself education, and twice a month come for a mastermind and Q&A session, and then quarterly we'll have full-day training programs. So we'll bring in someone like from our institute faculty, someone who would help us with presentation skills or business or content development, that type of thing. So that's the main part of what I do. So definitely around coaching, and the projects that I help people with, like their websites or creating their speaker marketing materials, that always includes coaching as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So can you join that at any time, or is there you said there's this definite start and finish to that group?
I'm actually planning. I put about every quarter. And right now I'm planning my next one. I have a list of people that I'm reaching out to that have indicated that they're interested. I like to keep it to 4 or less.
Okay. I like that too. I like the small groups. So like you said, I love going to the meetings and stuff, but I find that I really like the more intimate ones, because you can actually, I don't know, I guess you connect with a lot of people, but then you can do more intimate connecting, I guess. They're more deeper.
Yes, and you are able to talk about your business, right? That's the thing. It's like, I want for the people who are involved to be able to have their questions answered. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I'll definitely check that out. And so the dentalspeaker.com, and then from there they can find all the information on you. And of course, we'll put you on our website as well, and links to you and more information about you. And is there anything else you want to share with us, Vanessa?
Oh my gosh, there's so much more I'd love to share.
I know. Keep talking until they shut us
okay.
off.
Do we have some time?
Oh, we do, yeah.
Awesome. I would love to throw out for those in your audience who are not speaking consulting. I find that many professionals get to a place in their career where they feel pulled toward teaching in some regard. And I find that many times as professionals get started speaking, it's after they've already been asked by the practice to teach others in the practice, or they have friends in the community in another dental practice that they're sharing. They already have become expert level. I have one of those standing desks too, but mine is not nearly so smooth as yours.
I muted myself so you couldn't hear it, but yeah.
I have to pick mine up. But so they typically, it would be someone who feels like they have learned some things and they want to share, or they're being asked to share. Others are recognizing, and they might kind of come kicking and screaming because they're like, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a coach. But yet when they get in it, they realize that they're transferring knowledge and wisdom that is helpful. And so that's where a lot of times it starts for dental professionals, and they think, well, I've kind of put my toe in the water, but I don't really know how to get in. I don't really know can I make this a business? How do I get to where I'm booking speeches? And how do I attract consulting clients? And can I carve out a side gig? Or maybe even eventually a full-time gig. Many doctors that I work with will start with this as a side gig, knowing that someday they want to exit clinical practice, or hygienist, or whomever. It's like, it's hard on the body, right? And so they get to the point where they're like, they know that down the road, they want to have a plan. And so I encourage everybody to understand, it's not I find the right light switch and flip it on, I'm just going to stay busy as a speaker. There's a ramp up into this. And so the best way into this would be slowly, to be able to, don't quit the day job, don't cut back on the office hours, but like I'd be happy to answer questions and help people carve out like a path and create a plan so that they can understand what are those next steps they need to take so that they can get started. It's definitely a path well trodden. In my email list, and over the years, there have been thousands of speakers. And there are thousands of meetings in dentistry. I mean, let that sink in. We've got it going on in dentistry in North America. We do. We really do. We have so many meetings, especially compared to the rest of the world. But when you start adding in I'm in the Phoenix area, and there have to be hundreds upon hundreds of dental study clubs here. There has to be.
Yeah. I just had a patient saying that he was moving to Phoenix. I'm like, oh, you'll have no trouble finding a dentist there. That's like,
oh no, yeah. With the many millions of people we have here, and it just, you extrapolate that across North America, you can see where what I want to point out there is that there's room for you. So no matter what you speak on, maybe you say, well, yeah, there's already so many people speaking about leadership, but they won't be you, and they won't be your story, and they won't have your experience. And do we want to learn from one leadership speaker ever? Right. I just want to encourage, if someone feels, Cindy, we've had these conversations. I'm such a big believer in listening to your gut. And this whole idea of there's something bigger going on here on this planet and in life and in general than just what we're talking about here today. And I think when we tap back into that truth internally, that whether you call it soul or the Holy Spirit or whatever we want to call it, everybody calls it something different, my intuition, my whatever, when we tap back into that, and if that says, oh, I get the goosebumps when I think about doing this, that's a heck yes. I step forward, because when you make the decision, the universe will open the doors for you. It just will. And like this podcast will show up at the right time. Those kind of things, it just comes together. So I just want to encourage anyone who's thinking, I'd like to, but gosh, it feels like it's hard, or I just don't know. Well, I'm going to tell you, I just don't know is no longer a good excuse, because now you know somebody that can help you know.
Yeah, so you do know. So you need to listen to your own gut, right? Oops. Oh, leave it. Hold on.
No worries.
Okay, you can keep talking while I.
Yeah, no worries. And so then there's also this situation of somebody who might be out there being asked to speak. So they've already gone to that next level where they felt compelled to participate as a speaker, and they've been invited, and they're also still not sure exactly how to make a business out of it. what I want to encourage them is that there's a whole community, and there's definitely education and coaches that can help you figure out how to get to that next level in your speaking and consulting.
Yeah, and talking about the universe, and then like this coming up here. So I am a true believer in that as well. Just like, yeah, listening to your gut, or listening to what's being told to you. It's a voice in your head, or whatever it is. If it's knocking and it keeps knocking, it's not going to go away. You're not going to feel fulfilled until you kind of follow up on it. Is that how you
Have
feel?
you ever heard anybody say, I listened to my gut and boy, do I wish I wouldn't have done that?
No, not at all.
Never.
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of
nobody's
it's just
ever said that.
self-doubt. And me, I mean, I've been speaking, doing training and speaking, and growing up, I was like the last person. That's the last thing I thought I'd ever be doing. But same thing, it was just like a calling. And like we were talking about going to concerts. Well, I like to be in the front row. I go to the front row, but then I find myself, I don't look at the band. I turn around. I like to look at the audience. And so I was like, and not for me, not them looking at me. I want to look at them. And I just caught myself doing that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I like to look at that. I like to be in the front row, not to get good pictures or stare at the band. I like to turn around and look at the crowd and see how excited they are, and see that, like the message that they're getting. And I don't know, that
Yeah.
was pretty eye-opening for me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I have to follow up on it, because I don't know, it's just.
Well, there's something that's very satisfying, and there's a feeling of service. I think when you can see the light bulb go off, and you know that you've connected others with answers they need in order to find more fulfillment or happiness or career satisfaction or whatever it is. There's something I think that is very satisfying about that. And I find that many speakers are like servant leaders. They're the ones that they want to, they want to help make the world a better place. They want to help. They want to leave the profession better than they found it. That sort of thing. That's the right person.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And does it mean, let me get this fixed real quick. Sorry about that.
So I would love to share some of the maybe workshops or some of the resources that would be available to help your audience members know how to go forward. I offer it's called, the web domain is Speak in Dentistry, speakindentistry.com. And that's a 3-hour introductory. What are the next steps? Like, what would it involve? It's really like for people who are thinking they want to get started, they haven't started yet, or they're barely started, or they just really are not sure what to do next. This is a really good workshop to help them know here's the lay of the land, and here's how much work it's going to be, and these are the things you have to do, and here's what you could expect to be compensated. It's really a good general view. This is the speech I give on the speaking circuit, and I've had attendees who come in as a doctor who just retired or getting ready to retire, who thought they wanted to speak, and at the end came up and hugged me and would say, thank you, because now I recognize I don't want to work that hard in retirement. It's like it helps them just see clearly what is this? What does this? What's the realistic? Because it's not easy.
Right.
Like anything that's
Oh yeah, you can work 24/7 if you let yourself, and you want to. That's the hard part. You want to, but you
yeah,
stop yourself.
You want to invest some time, and it's going to take some time and resources, and it's so fulfilling. And so it's called speakindentistry.com. I actually have one here in just a couple of days. So by the time this is released, it'll be past, but the next one will be in November. And if you go to Speak in Dentistry, it'll tell you. And I used to offer this at no charge, but I decided we could do better than that. And so it's $100 donation to my favorite cat rescue as your registration fee. And you just shoot me over the receipt, and then you've got your golden ticket in.
I was going to ask you about that. I noticed that you have that. What is it called for?
Oh yeah, the one that came out today.
Oh,
That's
another.
actually
Okay.
an animal, a cat and dog. Yeah,
Okay.
That's a little. So I'm doing this on a couple of mine that I would normally do at no charge, and I thought, why not? Because we can do good in the world while we're sharing this information, and what I'm getting back is really good. People like this.
Yeah,
we all love animals, right?
It's going to be in the beginning of August, correct? So I saw that and I was like, oh, I'm going to go. And then I'm like,
Oh,
$100, that's great. And then I saw it was to the donation. I'm like, oh, that's even better. How sweet.
yeah.
You're
Well, the
so
one that's in August 5th, is called Spirit Business Collective, and that's a little
Oh,
different. That's the one that has like, how do we stay connected to our faith and to divine, and to, that's like my passion, obviously, is like spirituality. And how can we stay connected to that as busy entrepreneurs and business owners and career professionals? How can we bring that into our day so that don't we all ever sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, I started out the day so great, by the end of the day, we're just off. So how do we stay in that balance, that the place that we want to be for those who are also passionate
yes.
about spirituality and
Yes,
business?
I love that. I hope I can make that one. I might be someplace off grid. That's my off grid week. So I'm like, oh man, but I'm sure you'll have more of those too.
Oh, we
And
will.
I love the spirit one too, that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm definitely all about that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I do have an ebook I'd be happy to share with your audience.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's also, well, the best way to get that would be to email me. And while we're giving out the email, if I could just share an invitation, if someone would like to, can't make the dates work, or it's too far in the future and they have some questions, I would love to have a conversation. I'd be happy to give them 30 minutes of my time and answer those questions and help them figure out like what's their next good step. And so the best way to do that is to just email me personally. And that would be info@thedentalspeaker.com. And if they want to just put in, call in the subject line, or or ebook, I'd be happy to send you the link to the ebook. It's available on Amazon. I don't have it here right next to me, but it's just So You Think You Want to Speak in Dentistry. So You Think You Want to Speak in Dentistry. It's available on Amazon, but you don't have to buy it. Just shoot me an email and I'll send over a PDF. And be happy to share it. And it includes a lot of the next steps, the first steps. I mean, people really typically want to start with, oh, I think I want to speak on this, but that's really step 3. There's some important things before you decide your speaking topic that are really important to know and to have in place before you decide what you are going to speak about. And so it goes through some of the strategy and the skills that are needed.
Okay. So it's not just about having a topic and
No.
running with it. There's lots of building blocks before that, right?
Yeah.
That's good. Good. Yeah, I have a lot of people that would contact me and they want to be consultants and they have these kind of questions. And so, and like you said, it's so good to connect with other people. And so now I met you and I could be like, here, talk to Vanessa. She has all the answers. And like you said, there's enough room for more than one person talking on one topic. Because just because you see somebody or see a topic, the world is huge. One person can't, there's no way one person can cover everybody. And even though I speak on topics, I love to listen to speakers on those topics. Yeah, I might know all the basics, but I still learn something new from everybody.
Definitely.
You still want to learn. And
I'm a business advisor and I've had multiple business coaches, and I have a business coach right now, right? So it's like it's just smart.
Yeah, for sure.
And I find that many times those who coach don't even have their own coaches.
Yes.
Or those who teach vision don't have their own life vision.
Right.
It's like it's just some basics that are, in fact, life vision is the first step. When you get ready to think about speaking and consulting, you want to be sure that this is really going to fit in your life. So you have to be clear, what is your vision for your life? I mean, you can't hold it up. We can go through, this is how you lay out the business structure and this is how much work it'll be and all that. But if we can't hold that up, that whatever that's going to be for you against what you want in your life, you can't compare and say like, this is for me.
Yes.
And people many times will think, oh, I know what I want. Well, I'm just here to tell you, when you write it down, one of my coaches about a year or 2 ago had asked me to take my life vision that I've had written down. I modified it every once in a while, which is what we should do, right? Because things change. But she asked me to take my Outlook calendar, take like a week, every hour of the week, and to plot my ideal week. Ooh, it got real then. My life vision changed again because there were some things I had on there. I thought, oh, I really want to do this and that. But then I started thinking, no, I don't think I want it that bad. I think it's just so important to get really clear about 3, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years in the future. What do you want? What do you want your life to look like? When I know what I want to do when I have my ideal life, every moment of the day, within reason, right? Like you could call like time with family, or like you could make it kind of general. But from the moment I rise, I start with, I hope this is not too graphic, RPM from Shilpa Center. They rise, P, meditate. RPM in the morning, because the key is like first thing you get up, you don't turn the light on or anything. You like stay in that Rumi said the morning breeze has secrets to tell you. And it's like when you stay in that quiet, calm place before you pull out your phone and look at Facebook, and before you go let the dog out or whatever, or maybe you have to let the dog out too. But the key is like from first thing in the morning, from the meditation through my day to the end of my day, which I like to end with meditation. I know what I want. I know what I want. And when you carve out your life vision so clearly that you have bullet points and you have it written in a way, it's not like, oh, I'm going to take a trip to France. That's an event. It's more like, I would love to include travel with 3 trips a year. You get specific. When you get that clear, what you start noticing is as you move in your life toward that, you start achieving it. And so my life vision changed from wanting to be somebody who had a cat sanctuary to where I sat down and I plotted that on my week. I'm like, that's too much work. I mean, I have my own in-house sanctuary, but to have like a big rescue, I want to have a big outdoor rescue with 1,000 cats. Because here in Phoenix, it's a thing. These cats are a thing. Wow. And so, but instead, what happened was I was invited to be a board member at the premier rescue here, I would say, even they're one of the biggest here in the Southwest. We have some really big, important rescues here, like Best Friends, and there's Cat House and the Kings in California. There's some really big, important rescues that are doing amazing work. And so Fearless Kitty here in Fountain Hills, they're like high caliber. And I'm so honored to be asked to be a board member. And that came because I got clear in my vision several years ago. It's law of attraction, right? It's like all that, whatever we want to call it. It's about that clarity helps us be able to create what we want. So we have to know, what do we want, so we can see where the business side stacks up to it. I hope I didn't go too far down a rabbit hole on that.
Not at all. No. And I like, because we're intuitive, which is great, but you also have to add the writing things down, the holistic things, see how it looks. Or else you could.
And talk it over with the people that are important in your life, right? So if you have a partner, or like whoever is important that you want to have in that picture. One of my favorite exercises for life vision, my husband and I do occasionally, we tend to hike here in Arizona, and we're in the Phoenix area, and we have so many hiking opportunities here. And we'll go for really long hikes. And sometimes, they're like, we've done like 8 or 9 miles in the desert. That's a lot. Yeah. That's a long time. And you see one cactus after the other, right? And so he'll just suddenly, or I'll randomly say, so Cindy, what'd you do with your $1 billion today? What'd you do with your $1 billion today? So if you take money out of the equation, and you could spend your day doing anything you dang wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah. Because when you said that, I wasn't thinking about buying things. I was thinking about sitting outside with peaceful birds chirping. It was just like, Yeah.
If money were no object, how would you want to spend your time on earth? That's what I'm talking about. And then you build the business to get you there.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. And we could do another episode on the power of attraction and all that stuff too. There's a lot of good stuff there too. Yeah, for sure. Anything else you want to add? I mean, I could listen.
I could talk for days, but I think we probably
okay, we just got more calls. Yeah, so thank you so much, Vanessa. And our code word for the after party is Speak Easy. So if you use code word Speak Easy, and you could get into the after party on rootyoon.com, and there will be some goodies there waiting for you. So make sure you check that out. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Dental Elements Podcast. To find out more information about today's guests and to sign up for the fabulous giveaways in the after party, head on over to rootyoon.com, and there you will find all of the information about everything. and some tricks and tips and some giveaways. So be sure to check it out at rootyyouon.com, or you can go to dentalelements.com. It doesn't matter. We just try to keep it in one spot. Hey, well, this will make you smile. Smile Makers is offering our listeners 20% off any order by using code DAP20. DAP20 will get you 20% off any order at smilemakers.com. They also have catalogs, good old-fashioned catalogs you can flip through and smell and touch and circle. So check out smilemakers.com and use promo code DAP20 for 20% off of your order. Cheers!